We're going to call the meeting to order with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody. Do I only have one seat vacant? Oh my God. Wow. Okay. This is our, we gotta have more of these than just once a year, John. All right. Thank you, everyone.
701.
Approve the agenda.
You want to just explain to everybody that this is the annual meeting at the beginning?
This is the annual meeting here at the beginning. And then phase 2 will be the budget hearing. Now, do you guys come back for the budget hearing?
Yes.
Well, good, because I don't want to have to talk that long.
I'll make a motion, we approve the annual meeting agenda.
The motion has been made by Troy Parmley that we approve the agenda as presented. Do I hear a second?
Mark seconded.
Frazier, second. All in favor out there?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Did we need to do a roll call from
No.
me and you? Oh, okay. Year-end report, that's me?
No, we have to
Approval of the March 3rd last year's minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
You have them there, we had them on the table if you don't have them. Okay, Mark has read them and made a motion from last year. That was a Zoom meeting, but we actually were zooming in every, like they
Second.
had. And is there a second on that?
Butch. Yes.
Which second?
Butch seconded, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, next on our annual meeting, our Township year-end report. Shall I read it? Perry Township continues to be in sound financial standing. The Township Board works very well together. We do. And we are all working toward keeping Perry Township in good, sound physical condition, as well as providing outstanding service to the residents. During the last fiscal year, Perry Township had a fiscal budget of $554,500, and we were able to come in under budget despite ongoing pandemic, COVID-19 conditions, which we have had to contend with, and you have too. Our revenue sharing from the state of Michigan was above what we anticipated despite the economic and social conditions that existed in 2021. In fact, we were anticipating a dip in funding, but we were very happy with the $349,000 checks that we received from the state of Michigan. Additional ARPA, that's the COVID funding, federal relief funding came into the township in the form of 2 checks, one for $172,703 and another one which we got just less than a month ago, $695.36, which was some townships did not participate, and that was they had a little extra money, so they divvied it out to the people that did participate, and that was for the payments for the year 2021. We also completed all the road projects which were approved by the Township Board, including asphalt and gravel road maintenance projects through the township totaling $174,000. The township repaid Lock Road from N52 West through the curve in an amount of $145,000. Also, the culvert was replaced on Lock Road near the golf course for $3,600, and Lock Road from Lovejoy Road north to the curve about half a mile, chip seal for $15,800. Gravel was applied to Church Road from Lansing to Antrim Township line. Miller Road from Roos Road to 52 was re-gravelled, shared with Bennington Township. 2 applications of the mineral well brine were applied on several gravel roads throughout the township. Managing Director Britt Freeze retired from this last year from the Road Commission. Chris Cannon, who worked there, was appointed as Managing Director. He's been in the Road Commission for many years and is working very well with our township. The 2021 Perry Township audit was conducted and deemed acceptable. The Perry Township DDA Board reappointed Chris Morris and Adam Elsesser to a new 4-year term. The Township and the City of Perry are continuing to seek financial grant applications for a possible 80-20 cost share for the extension of the water line from the City of Perry near the Family Dollar east along Old Lansing Road to Bennett Drive, south along Bennett Drive, and west along Britton Road to tie back in to the water system to the high school, near the high school. our SEDP, Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership, and is continuing to assist us with the application process. It was submitted in early 2021. However, funds ran out before it could be actually acted upon. A new grant application is in the process of being submitted to the EDA. Additional funding, that's the federal EDA. Additional funds are also available from the state of Michigan, MEDC and SEDP, that's the Michigan Economic Development, and the Shiawassee Economic are also assisting us with this. Consumers Energy also gave the DDA board their cost estimate for metal lighting poles, LED lighting from west side of Lansing Road from M52 all the way to Signature Ford in our DDA district, as well as areas in the city of Perry. The cost estimate was considerably larger than the lighting project cost that was completed along the east side of Lansing Road, which was completed maybe 3 years ago, something to that effect. This project was put on hold by the DDA board due to the water line project funding cost requirements that they're going to have to come up with if the water line, we have to come up with the 20% or 10%. It was a very busy and productive year for us, especially with the continuation of the COVID conditions we all have had to deal with. Our township clerk and all the election workers did an excellent job with a special school election in November 2021 during the COVID pandemic. The board of review met during the normal schedule in March 2021. However, it was conducted both in person and via Zoom to allow the public to be engaged in the process. All the board review training was conducted via Zoom in 2021. We, the township, were available during business hours throughout this 2021 year with limited access to the front office, the petitions, and then with the COVID protocol in place throughout the year. Mark Falk, supervisor for Perry Township. Do I need to do anything with the report?
Nope, not for the report.
It'll be on file, it'll be on the computer system. Okay. Public comments during this time of the annual meeting. Public comments. They're awful quiet, Kelly. Okay, salary resolutions.
Make a motion that we ratify the proposed salary for the supervisor.
Okay, motion's been made.
Second.
Seconded by Butch.
What is, I don't remember, I have the dollar amount off the top.
2,500, isn't it?
20,500.
20,500.
Okay, a little more than we had. We had 19 something, 19. So, okay, motion been made. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Make a motion, we ratify I think the clerk's next. isn't it?
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clerk's salary of $20,500 for.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Troy has seconded the motion.
Sally's by hand vote.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Pass, okay. And then third.
Make a motion, we ratify the treasurer's salary of $20,000.
All right, motion been made, seconded by Butch. Griffin? Any discussion? All in favor? Signify.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, okay. Motion passed. That's the salary resolutions. Any other business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn the annual meeting and go to the budget.
Second.
7:10?
I guess that's
Huh?
7:10 is what you want.
7:10? All in favor?
And the crowd back.
Aye, okay.
Yeah, it was half the crowd, right?
Yeah, I love, lost the script.
Did you, we switch seats
I
or
did,
what?
to get closer to it. This is yours. This must be yours too. If not, it's mine. Oh, that's yours. Check. Okay. We'll wait for everybody to get in position. All right. Next is the opening of the budget hearing for 2022. What time is it?
7:11?
Huh?
7:11?
Oh, I like 7 p.m. All right. All right, Troy, presentation of the 2022 to 2023 budget.
Okay, so we have our proposed budget for the general fund and all the associated other funds with you. Highlights on the general fund is we, as usual, budget income very conservatively and expenses very conservatively, so, based on, you know, where things ended up this year and everything, our income numbers, you know, should be very, very solid there. Because our revenue sharing continued to come in. We use the state's estimator, which has not projected as much revenue sharing that has come in. Of course, revenue sharing is solely based on sales tax revenue. So as fuel prices have gone up and everything else, that's generated more sales tax revenue.
Thank you, Amazon.
Yeah, right. Other than that, I mean, our general line items kind of are what they are. There's the only major thing we have in there this year is we are redoing the Township Hall parking lot, which is a very large expenditure. And you see in there we have a transfer in from the ARPA fund, which is the stimulus money, for $100,000 to help with that project. The changes to the statute, a month or so ago, originally there was very specific infrastructure projects that the stimulus money could be used for, and then a month ago they changed that so it's any lawful governmental expenditure, which will open it up for roads or improvements to the township hall, things of the sort.
For smaller.
For any entity that received less than $10 million. So,
Okay.
so that allowed that funding to be used for it, because obviously that project came in, you know, a few years ago we had been anticipating that parking lot project to be like $60,000, and when we had priced it before, and it came in at 180 was our low bid on it.
183, yeah.
But of course, that is a total redo of our base, redoing our drainage, everything else, not just a simple pave. So I mean, it's a long-term project.
Should last us a long time.
The other budgets after the general fund in your packet, first one is the Dda Fund. That was approved by the Dda board at their January meeting. We have to ratify it. That budget is identical to what it was last year. Second page is the sewer fund. That sewer fund is an enterprise fund, so it's considered a business type activity. It's not subsidized. It doesn't make money, but it can't lose money. Everything in there, I mean, basically it's our ongoing maintenance fee coming in, the operation payment to the Village of Morris, plus there's contingencies budget in there for repairs and maintenance on our pump station and everything else if needed.
It's for the lagoon in Morris.
Right, the operation payments for the lagoon and Morris.
Yep.
Special assessment fund, that handles the special assessment money, it's just that's money coming in and money going out, so that's the special assessment for Clifford Fields lights. The lights that the DDA reimburses for down Bennett Drive, Rose Boulevard, and Lansing Road. It also handles the ambulance special assessment. And Thornapple Drive, private road special assessment. Again, that's money just coming in and going out. That's just holding those special assessments.
Okay.
Next page is the ARPA fund, which is the stimulus money. That shows the beginning balance and then the proposed $100,000 transfer out to the general fund for the parking lot project. If we decide to reallocate anything during the year, then we'll just amend that. Road fund, that is just the savings account for roads, so nothing changed there. Roselawn Cemetery, that's the perpetual care fund, nothing changed there. And then improvement, investment in land and building, those are just reserve funds. The investment fund has that line item in there for the utility reserve. When we sold the water property, we earmarked that money for improvements on the utilities in the Lansing Road corridor. So that line item's still there. Then the land and building fund, remember we had been putting money in a sinking fund for the parking lot there. Now that we had coded that as a hall sinking fund, so that money will just stay there and we can use that for another project. You know, if we end up having to do something on the floor here or the furnace, HVAC stuff, so that will just stay in there.
Okay,
So
Troy.
that is the summary of our 22-23 budget. It doesn't really change much year to year, but it's a solid budget.
We have a lot of, during the township meetings, during our work on Tuesday and Wednesdays when we're here, Troy deals with a lot of different treasurers in our township, in our county, Tallahassee County. They have questions, and they'll call Troy, and he does a very good job of helping them.
Should bill.
Stops what he does, and tries to get the question answered so that they fully understand. And you know, they're different. Woodhall's a good example of it. Different ones have called, and it's nice that he is available to answer those questions for for the people. So I just
Probably
wanted-
the youngest one, but I've actually done it the longest out of several of them, so yes. So we need to open up for public comments on the
Any
budget.
comments on our budget? Any questions that we have that you see? Okay, all right. Good presentation, Troy.
I'll make a motion that we close the budget hearing for the annual
No,
budget.
wait.
Oh, wait,
We
wait.
have to adopt,
We have to close the hearing first and then
Oh, the public
we
comment.
gotta close the public hearing, yeah.
Okay, Troy made that motion.
Second.
Mark seconded, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
All right, I will make a motion that we adopt the General Appropriations Act and adopt the 2022-2023 budget and levy our 1 mil operating as reduced by headlight to support it.
I'll second.
All right, so Troy made the motion, seconded by Butch. Roll call vote,
Yes.
Kelly.
Troy Parmalee.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffith. Kelly Schmidt, yes.
Okay, with that, anybody want to make a motion to close the budget hearing?
Motion to adjourn the budget hearing and move into to the regular meeting agenda.
Second.
Seconded by Mark, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. About 7:16, is that roughly it, 7:17? Thank you. All right, that's our once-a-year deal. All right, Perry Township, our agenda for May 2nd, 2022, March 2nd, 2022. I'll call this meeting to order with the pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome to our regular meeting. It's about 7:17, 7:18.
Yep.
Okay. Roll call, Kelly.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Here.
Francis Griffith.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee.
Here.
Okay, agenda, you have agenda before you.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Mark, motion to approve. Butch, seconded by Butch, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any budget here?
Where?
Oh, we'll pass that. Check. February 2nd, last month's regular meeting minutes. You have those
They're
before
actually
you?
9.
It was the 9th, actually, the 9th, February 9th. We had bad weather, remember? We delayed it a little bit.
Oh, so do we need to correct that?
It's okay.
The minutes are right.
Yeah.
Minutes are correct.
Well, I'll make a motion that we adopt the February 9th and the February 15th minutes as presented.
Second.
Oh, both of them, okay. And seconded by Mark, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, check. Public comments. Troy, I want to start with our commissioner, John. I told him I would. Oh,
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
oh, public comments? No? Okay, John, it's all yours. The floor is all yours.
Taking me early, I gotta go to the football.
I know.
Just a few things. We're moving our veterans office down to the Lincoln Center. That's where it's out there on Shiawassee Street or State Road in Corona. And it's a lot larger facility. They have secured a $90,000 grant from the state, the Veterans Board of the State of Michigan. They applied through their director and their board. They received $90,000 for that renovation project, along with their funds and county funds. We hope to have them renovated and moved, hopefully by the middle of summer. And that'll free up some more space in the Surbeck building. And we have some plans for that, but we haven't solidified those yet, but we will. Mark and I attended I-69 corridor. We had a quorum.
Yeah.
That we actually conducted business, so that was really good. First time in a long time because of COVID and people not being able to be there. We did that. That was a good thing. We also last month appointed a new commissioner for District 5. The previous commissioner resigned, and we had 6 applicants, and we picked Brad Howard. He's from Burns-Byron area, that's District 5 area. Also, he's the president of the Michigan Township Association for Shiawassee County. So a lot of us knew him real well, He garnered 4 votes out of the 5 commissioners that were there. We had 1 commissioner that was absent, he had to work, but he had to have 4 votes, and he garnered the 4 votes. So that turned out pretty good.
Now, the meeting, did it go yesterday?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, he was sworn in right after we picked him. Oh, yeah, so he was there for the meetings in,
Good.
yep, in February and of course in the March here. Also, we've gone through the period where we have public comment for 40 days on the MERS bonding. We're going to bond our MERS retirement, and of course we do not have the defined benefit program anymore. We've gone to what we call just a regular 401k and Roths. So our budget year, when we expense our budget year every year, we've expensed everything we're supposed to expense, and that includes retirement. We will not have any more legacy costs accumulate, but we do have quite an accumulation of defined benefit. We're bonding approximately, it will be approximately $44 million we paid off over 18 years. But that'll save us tremendous amounts of money from what MERS wants. MERS at this present time, this year we had to pay MERS a normal retirement monies of $1 million, but our bill to them was over $5 million because of legacy costs and what we owe above what we have there. And that was just going to keep going up, and our budget's only $19 million. In a couple of years, we would not have much activity at the county except paying for MERS retirement. But that's going to get bonded out, and of course, the MERS defined benefit program's over with. Yep, so that was a big deal. Gone to road commission. Road commission money, they intend on doing everything that they have planned, but the cost, there's some costs that stayed the same for road, like some of the chip seal and all that kind of thing, but some of the blacktopping, the per ton went up again. So they're looking at about 15, sometimes 20% more for activity for roads. And that's expensive. Hopefully that'll come down in '23. Talked about veterans also. Worked a lot, and this is, sometimes what you wish for. We've been working diligently with federal and state and like people who put in broadband and Charter Spectrum, which handles an awful lot of Shiawassee County. Charter secured a grant from the federal government for $323 million for broadband. They're also going to put $300 million of their own money in. They will be doing broadband from Upper Michigan, but huge portion of that money will be spent in Shiawassee County. That means that up and down Charter Spectrum areas, they will be putting in fiber optic. A lot of it will be underground, some will be on poles in conjunction with telephone companies or whatever. 14 townships most likely will be touched in Shiawassee County with this activity over the next 3 years. But the only two townships that won't be touched are Woodhull and Perry.
Yours.
Mine. And I've worked on this, but the reason is we have WOW and we have TDS. We don't have Charter Spectrum. And actually, Charter Spectrum does cross over into several villages that are handled by somebody else. Now, there's a big difference between the money that's been granted for all those activities now and what was granted in the past. In the past, those grants would not pay for more than 300 feet past a house. So if houses are lined up, that's pretty good. Lot sizes, that works. Well, now they're allowing linking. And linking means, let's say there's 10 houses here in Ellsworth, and they want to go to 10 houses over here on Ellsworth, down here Ellsworth and Morris. That is now allowable. So they can link. They can link through other people's areas too, but they can't hook up people. And actually, Charter Spectrum has an awful lot of Livingston County, and actually they're probably going to go through Perry to get there. But now we're all familiar with Daystar. They also, Charter Spectrum can work with Daystar, and they may. They're talking. Also, the Charter Spectrum will be most likely working with the Intermediate School District Innermary School District has a lot of fiber optic in the ground linking the schools. So, my whole thing, and I've talked to several people, Woodall in the city, and of course here, we're going to really kind of petition TDS to get off their duff. I mean, cable, broadband in the city of Perry is pretty good, I have it. But you get out of you go past city limits, it's not good.
Right.
And you can, if you go through WOW, you have Hughes Network. If you stay with TDS, you have outside city with Perry. It's not very good.
I mean, it's not bad, you know, it's not bad when you're close to 52 too.
Yes.
But I mean, you know, when we had to do our meetings via Zoom, I mean, frankly, I mean, I live out in the most rural part, and I had the best internet because there's a main trunk station at Lock and 52, you know, that booster station, but Butch and Mark and Kelly, I mean, their internet was awful.
Yeah,
North
yeah.
of the 69, I mean, it just was, I mean, it cut in and out and everything.
So anyway, actually Charter Spectrum came, and we met with them, the county administrator and myself, and they basically were looking for more money to do more, but this is a good start. That's $623 million. Broadband on the ground or even up on poles is very expensive. And the ground is 70,000 miles. So it's going to get a lot of rural Shaw's County is going to have 5G right out in front of their house.
So is the county contributing money to this or not?
No, not at this time. Several counties have. That has come
Well,
up.
I mean,
in our
my
discussions.
comment only to that is if they do that, it needs to be somewhat even such that our area gets something for
Oh, yes.
WOW or Daystar or TDS or something.
Yeah, and also too is they've really broadened the rules for ARPA money. We're sitting on a lot of ARPA money, over $12–13 million. The only thing we can't use it for is, of course, retirement. We can't pay for the cost of former retirements, but we're handling that. So that's a pot of money, and we've had a lot of suggestions. So that we're discussing it.
John, have you heard anything about, we got this in our MTA Capital newsletter last week, about a bill proposed in the legislature for helping municipalities with unfunded pensions?
Yes.
I mean, it's obviously a bill, hasn't gone through committee or anything.
But it has progressed.
Yes,
I get the text
okay.
on my phone. There are a lot of communities in the state of Michigan that are way upside down. They have no money for even their retirees. Flint, city of Flint Township. They have millions and millions and millions of dollars in obligation for pensions under the MERS defined benefit program, and they actually have no money in those accounts. They're actually funding it. And what that really means is they're paying their employees who are working, and they're still paying their employees that are retired. It's not a good deal. The state has talked about helping some of those communities, but you can already see the problem in logistics. Well, if you're going to give, you're going to $1 billion, you're going to take care of Flint's retirement, why don't you take care of mine? I mean, you can see that I don't know how they're going to really handle that.
Well, the pot of money isn't going to be nearly big
No.
enough that they proposed, but I mean, it laid out some pretty specific stuff in there that if you're under 50%, these are the type of program. But it ties it to you making changes. I mean, exactly closing the
Yes.
defined benefit program for new hires and a bunch of other changes. And if you don't make those changes, you get to pay it back.
Yeah.
But I mean, it kind of looked like an interesting first step because the state, of course, has a bit of a budget windfall with their COVID money and
Yes,
everything.
they do.
So, I mean, maybe if something, if the county could get that and pay off the bond early or part of the bond,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that would be a big deal.
with bonding, to maintain our pensions and the payment on pensions, we would have to earn 5.65% a year on the money that we're going to take with our present money in retirement and the bonding money, put it together. 5.65% is a break even, which would pay everything. But the normal return, of course, we're going to put it out for bid, Normal return should be around 8 or 9%. So we're gonna be able to pay off our obligation on bonds or gain money in that account, I hope quickly. But that's an average of over 7, 8 years, so we got an 18-year time period. So there's just a lot of things on the horizon but the Treasury and the state, of course, have been pushing everybody to get out of defined benefit and get into just a regular 401ks, private and 401bs, public and Roth programs, so things like that. Anyway, I've touched on several things. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I'll.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. All right. All right, with that, we'll start our sheriff report. Troy?
Looks like in February, we had 89 calls for service, of which of them 16 were traffic stops.
Okay. And speed. All right. Tell Woodhall hi for us. John.
Yes, I will.
All right.
I'll tell
Mark, Cecil.
No update on union negotiations. They're still having meetings.
Okay.
We're putting renewing the millage for fire hopefully on the August ballot. The used truck was purchased and the pumper replaced the one with the crack in the frame, and it is in service.
Okay.
And it's very similar to the one it's replacing, even though it's older. It's a little bit smaller in the cab, but other than that, it's the same specs.
Where did you get that one?
Bought it from Denton Township near Fulton Lake. There's 22,000 miles on it.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's in pretty decent shape, and gets us out of a bad situation until we can afford to buy a new one. And the last pumper we bought was $520,000. We figured that by the time we're at the point where we can buy another one, it's probably $700 with the way costs are going right now. And we assisted Shiawassee Township on a truck fire, a box truck on 69, and it had a large quantity of liquid epoxy in it and rubber balls. And it was at night, it was dark. They thought they were wading around in mud, they were wading around in the epoxy. And it ruined quite a few $1,000s worth of turnout gear. There's no choice, you gotta fight the situation. And so we're having that stuff's on order
Ooh,
to replace the
how
ones
many
that were.
people did that affect?
It wasn't toxic.
Oh, okay,
It wasn't toxic, it just ruined it.
Right,
okay.
right, so it was.
But insurance well covered.
Well, we've turned a bill into the,
Shiawassee
Or the
Township has to go after the insurance company of the fire, and then they can reimburse
Right.
Shiawassee, who will then reimburse Perry.
right, we gave them a bill for it, they asked for that. And
Okay, well, good.
hopefully that gets paid back, so that's pretty much it.
Okay, okay, good, Mark, okay. DDA, we did not meet. Zoning, I went over that last month, but we didn't have it's what, second, so we haven't got the packet yet. John spoke. Mark, library.
Really, they've had a couple new people put on the board for people that left. And they've started the renovations at Perry Branch. And it's really, there isn't too much else other than that.
So the Perry branch is closed.
Perry Branch is closed.
Okay.
Now, is that, they're using that money that's given to the Perry branch, is that where that's doing to renovate it?
Some of it, yeah. I think the city's actually kicking some in too, because they own the building.
Okay.
But that's, yeah.
Okay. I-69, or does that mean?
That was you filled in for me. I-69.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark, yeah, Mark filled in for me at the I-69 meeting this past week.
Basically, we voted on many things, and I didn't
Because
bring.
we hadn't had a
Yeah,
quorum,
yeah.
and
Well, I guess
quite a while.
I did bring that. I wondered why it was in here.
the main thing is you did, they got the high road logistics study approved. That was the big thing that needed to get going, and that's to look at a possible rail to truck transfer facility somewhere in the
Yeah.
Owasso, Duran, Flint triangle.
This high road is from Chicago, and they're,
Chicago
they,
Consulting.
yeah, it's 11,000 a month for about 5 or 6 months, and that was
So she's a pretty
Vote-
nationally renowned
voted,
person. yeah.
voted basically unanimously. And then also
Renewed
something
the
about a
sign,
sign.
renewed the sign at the
renewed
airport.
sign.
Yep.
And that was about it. Approved a new attorney, because their attorney went to work for the city of Lansing.
Correct.
So, that was it. It was a long meeting, but it was good. All right, that was that. Mark, SEDP, which could be.
We've entered into a relationship with a grant writer, Ashley Connolly from Lion Bear Ventures, and she grew up in New Lothrop. And the purpose of this was to provide to any member of SEDP, and we're discussing how we can do this for non-members, but if you need to get a grant written and you need a grant writer to do it, you're gonna pay for it, but at a set rate that we've negotiated, and we have this available to everybody that's a member of SEDP now. Because frankly, that's a problem, who do you go to? You know, and you could get taken to the cleaners, I guess is a good way to put it, in some cases. So actually, that was a motion of mine to try to find somebody, and they were able to, because she helped with some grants, with some projects already going on in the county, and they got to know her.
Good, okay. Well, that's
So
good. What's her
that's
name?
available
What's her
now.
name again?
Ashley Connolly.
Ashley?
And so that's available to both governmental units and businesses. And so that's a important thing.
Yeah, good.
And I got
Yeah,
what they call the EOS core value call out. I was honored for pushing and pushing and pushing to get a bank, which is now coming in the city of Perry in our area. So we have a
Yes.
financial institution.
You get a
coming.
credit union.
And in truth, it wasn't all me. The owners of the building now had to pay some financial obligations with PNC to get that deed restriction off. So Heather put a big effort into that and a big chunk of dollars, so.
good.
But she wanted that also, so. We do have Portland Credit Union coming to, and they are not part of that Pennsylvania thing. They are not part of that Pennsylvania thing,
That's what it said on the website.
no.
There's two PFCUs.
Yep,
Yes.
that's a different.
You
that's
were
a
on the
different
wrong,
area.
you were on the wrong website.
So we have Portland Credit Union coming to the north half of the building where Central Pharmacy is, where PNC Bank used to be. So we will have a local bank for residents and for businesses. That's a big
Yeah.
deal for businesses.
Oh,
They need
absolutely.
change or to deposit cash, so that's a big thing.
Okay.
But SEDP worked hard on that.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, 3 years ago, Justin and I met with the president of Portland, and we just kept pushing on it,
Yeah. Wow.
so.
All right. Planning Commission,
Okay, we
Matt?
met and discussed, are we gonna, is that on the agenda? later?
Yes, it's further down on the agenda,
Okay.
the recommendation.
Yeah,
February 17th.
our main purpose for the meeting was to meet on Slocum's storage facility, and so we have something on that. Other than that, we just worked a little bit on the annual, or the master plan, sorry.
Okay, sounds good.
See it on each line.
All right. All right, that's our special reports. Now we're going to move on to the financial report, Troy, and pay the bills.
Okay, you got your bills list in front of you and the budget to date numbers. On the bills, I don't think there was anything out of our normal stuff. Income wise, we obviously have property tax revenue coming in, and there'll just be a smidge more to come, a few $100 more on our balance to settle. The big thing was our revenue sharing check, which, you know, as I mentioned earlier, you know, our last couple payments had been substantially more than, you know, had been estimated, and this one came in, you know, just as par. So, you know, as long as sales tax keeps going, that'll keep flowing. But I mean, revenue sharing is solely tied to sales tax revenue. So, but everything looks good. Obviously, we've got 1 month left, or the month of March left in the budget today numbers. So as you see, a lot of those numbers are getting 80-90%, but we're towards the end of the fiscal year, so that's what they should be doing.
Yeah, our new year is April 1st.
April 1st.
April 1st, okay, I'll make a motion, we pay the, accept the financial report as presented and pay the bills.
Second.
Mark and Mark, okay. All in, roll call vote, Kelly.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Tom Schmidt, yes. Terry Carmel.
Yes.
Okay, rapidly moving on. Correspondence, Nelson Grant. Information.
Yeah, so I had a company, Nelson Granite, stop in, and he actually had one of these columbarium niches on the back of his truck. And so we went out and looked at it, and they're kind of nice.
You
They're,
put cremation, you can put people
They're
in
above ground cremation things.
vaults.
right,
Yeah.
they're like a vault.
Yeah.
And I had talked to Mike a little bit about it, and he and I thought that it might, if we decide ever to do something like this, that the Veterans Circle might be a great place to put that.
Oh, yeah.
Or we're out of space.
Yeah, because the veterans, I mean, we could potentially add almost 96 areas of burial if there were cremations in the Veterans Circle. So, I don't know,
It looked nice
Yep.
on the truck. you
yep,
know.
that's something that maybe we should consider in the future, and I
So
think
how much does it cost?
the great big one, the 48-inch one, the columbarium itself is about $15,000.
That's not too bad.
And then, of course, you know, you have to put your foundations down
Sure.
and freight and, you know, the crane to set it and that sort of thing. So it adds up a little bit, but that price is for a 48-inch one.
How many vaults are in there?
So there, it depends on what size you get. The one that he showed us, this one has, it's 48, so
48.
24. So one side, these are double-sided. So one side could do 48. The other side could do another 48.
Williamstown Township did one of these in a similar
They
thing a
have
few
to.
That's
years
real
ago.
similar to what they have at the Veterans Cemetery in Holly.
Right.
Boys,
And you can actually put more than one person
Two
in a vault.
in each one of those, yeah.
Right.
But I mean, just to clarify, I mean, we aren't out of space at the cemetery at all. What we were talking about on the Veterans Circle is the Veterans Circle itself is filled. We have designated another area off to the side for veterans, because veterans get a free grave, but this would allow us to keep it more in the center for cremains.
focused.
It seems like a lot more people are cremating now too.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you know, there's some people that don't want to be put in the ground. That was one of the,
Well,
that
that's-
was one of the discussions.
No, I
that
think
we
it's
had,
something we should
so.
look at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's good, Kelly.
Mike
Yeah.
had,
Was it
Mike-
a cold call? It was, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
He just kind of come in here. I
he
said,
stopped
"What are
down
you
at the
doing, Kelly?"
cemetery and talked to Mike a little bit, and Mike sent him down here. Mike had a burial this week, and he talked to a different vault company that he doesn't typically work with, and that vault company knew of another place that has these, and he said, well, you know, reach out to them and have them send the information to the township, and, you know, maybe they can talk about it, so.
Thanks, Kelly.
Anyway, just,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's for the veterans, that's a good idea, the Veterans Circle.
Okay, this is our first public comment section. We'll have another one at the end, but if anybody, public has any comments, you can talk now. If not, we'll continue, keep going. All right. Okay, unfinished business. Okay, as you know, we did get several bids on the parking lot, Kelly, and we have met in our annual meeting, or our workshop, and went over them. Okay.
so, under the unfinished business, there's the parking lot bids and the retention pond maintenance. The parking lot bids were clarified at the public budget work session, and the bid by Michigan Paving Company in the amount of $183,125 for the reconstruction of the Township Hall parking lot was approved. So construction for that will commence in August after the election. A bid for Rescue Me Pure Lawn Care in the amount of $2,500 was also approved at the public budget work session for the brush hog and tree removal of the retention pond. We wanted to get that approved so he could get out there while everything was still frozen and
Yeah,
get
he
it
did.
taken care of. And he did.
Yep, it looks nice.
So I just wanted to note that's where those two things were approved by the board.
Okay, very good, appreciate that. All right, rapidly moving to new business, our assessor is here, Kyla,
Okay,
it's your turn.
all right, so I'm Kyla. I'm the one that you see in the office on Wednesdays. I'm here from 10 to 1, so I work with Tina Wright. Okay, so to get started, assessment change notices just went out. People are gonna see the inflation rate multiplier for this year. It is higher, it's almost doubled than last year, so you know, we expected, you know, phone calls and people coming in. It was a bit of a jump. It was 1.033 this year,
It
so.
was like, what, 16 before, 0.16 or something?
One,
And that works out to 3.3%.
yeah,
And it's-
So
but,
three
yeah,
percent,
but
yeah.
so almost doubled from
Almost
last
doubled,
year,
yeah.
so a bit of a jump, yep. And then going into our ratios from this year, after we got our equalization studies, so everything went up. Ag went up by almost 11% this year. Residential went up by almost 9%. Commercial was 6.5, and industrial was up almost 8. So bit of jumps. This year was also pretty big for our platted subs. So they were originally, they were being assessed by the square footage, and we went through and changed all of those this year to front footage. It just makes for, it accurately reflects their value. It corresponds with a lot of other townships, you know, do front footage, so we just thought, you know, to keep them up to date. It helps with markets, and it's fair. It's, you know, fair across the board. So that was a pretty big project that we worked on. Everything came out great. No problems there. Let's see, we also have March quarter review coming up. The 15th from 9 to 3, and then the 16th from 3 to 9. We encourage the public to come. And as far as we'll be sending out field work letters this year for our annual canvas, probably going to get those out in May or June. We're going to have some other people helping us this year, so it might not be Tina or myself. But everybody will have business cards, letters will be sent out, so you can decline, you know, send those back in. Everyone will have business cards and ID, and it's just, you know, measuring and photos of the outside, so same as usual. And that's basically all of that. We always encourage, our cell phone numbers are out there, emails, if anyone has any questions for us. I know I'm only here Wednesday, but we're more than willing to make appointments. Call us on our cell phone anytime. I pick up on Sundays, so that's basically all I got tonight.
To clarify what Michaela was saying there, so the, you know, she was talking about the SEVs, you know, when she talked about the ag, residential, commercial, those were the SEVs, and of course we pay taxes on taxable value, but that did go up by 3.3% this year.
Yep.
Under Proposal A, the most it can go up is 5%.
Which it almost did in December, so not to freak anybody out,
But for next year, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 5%, and the state comes up with that number.
And it caps at 5%, but it was at 5% in December, and so I wouldn't be surprised if next year that.
So what it is, under Proposal A, right, it goes up, the state calculates this number, so I mean, we have no say in that
Yeah.
number, but I mean, it goes up by the inflation multiplier or 5%, whichever is lower. So if we continue at 10% inflation, we're running close to right now, it won't go up by 10, but it could go, it hit the max of 5, and we've never hit 5 since Proposal A.
Yeah.
3.3, this might be one of the higher ones, I
Yeah.
think.
And it was up at 5 in December, and then, so I wouldn't be surprised if next year that it is, but.
Did I see our taxable values right around 107 million this year, I think is what I looked at?
Yep, so.
So it was about a 4 or 5 million increase, which would be pretty darn close to that 3.3% in there, so.
Okay, Kyla, thank you.
But, yes.
Good job. And,
Do you have a specific, do you know what area of the township the field work's gonna be this year, or?
I believe we started in when did we start, 2019?
You did the village.
Yep, we
didn't
did
you?
the village, and then we started in section, I think we just started in section 1 and went through, so I believe it's sections 12 through maybe 20 this year.
Whatever that second and third,
Yeah.
third and fourth tier are.
Yep, and like I said, we'll send out letters, phone numbers, everyone will have ID cards, business cards, so it's not gonna be, it won't be so sketchy, somebody
Right,
coming
no.
out, but,
They send a letter out to all the property owners, telling them that we're gonna come out, because we are required by the state of Michigan to visit
20%.
20% every year. Now, you can send back and say, you SOBs better come nowhere near my property, it's guarded with a shotgun and everything else, and we get a few of those
We
and
do,
stuff.
we do,
Um,
we do.
Just if you come in to appeal your taxes though, you don't have much ground to appeal it on if you're not gonna let the assessor on. And they, of course, will use aerial
And grow, yep.
aerial photography and everything else to measure buildings and stuff, but it's best for everybody if it's just correct, because of course there are other ways to do it now, but I mean, people that have never, will refuse to let them on if the assessor does an estimate, if you appeal it to the tax tribunal, you will lose, because because there's no other thing to verify.
and you're still putting things in the computer, right?
Yep, we're moving everything, digitally, getting all the old record cards, even old permits, we're just trying to get all that stuff on there, so that way, if the public comes in and they, say, hey, can you pull up, whatever from a while ago, we're not digging through old folders and, that sort of thing, and then it's just accessible, we can make copies, that sort of thing, so just trying to update.
Yeah, great.
We're still working on that, that's a slow process, but.
Yeah, okay.
And all of our records are available on our website free of charge. So anybody can pull it up and shows all the assessment information and, what we have, the values, how land and buildings are broken out and tax information and all that.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Kyla. First, yep.
All right. I will
See ya.
you guys next
Take care,
week.
yeah.
Thank you.
10 o'clock,
On Wednesday, yep.
on
Nope.
Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, we have the organizational meeting next week.
Yes.
10 o'clock
All right.
next Tuesday. I'll see you guys then.
I better say that. Okay.
Thank you, Michaela.
Okay, Callie, we got the 2022-2023 Township Board meeting dates and times for this year.
And a problem with any of them? I don't think so.
Yes, we have one in August. So I recommend that we move the August meeting to July 27th
Oh,
because of the
election.
election and also the parking lot issues.
Oh, that's right.
I think if we move it to July 27th, it'll avoid
What day was it supposed to be on?
August.
Probably
Uh,
Wednesday after the Tuesday, that's the primary, would be my guess. November, so that's the election is a week.
August 3rd.
The November election
Well,
must be a week late this
You
year.
know, we don't want it August 3rd because that's my birthday. We don't want it on August 3rd, do we?
Yes,
No.
but your
No.
birthday.
No, you're right, we don't want to have it the day after the primary.
Oh,
'cause-
primary. I knew there was something important. It's the primary. Okay. I knew it was something. I just could put my finger on it there.
Well, I make a
so-
motion, we accept the
Mark,
dates.
Mark's gonna make a motion that we accept it as printed.
Second.
And Butch will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kelly, next you've got another one, Planning Commission meeting.
Planning
dates.
Commission dates, it's just updating the dates for the Planning Commission. They meet the third Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. here at the Township Hall of the Planning Commission.
Unless there's no business.
Unless there's no business. Yeah.
Motion to accept the planning commission meeting dates and times?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Troy, we got a depository.
We have to approve our annual depositories. This is our normal list, except I did add that PFCU in there. We'll see if they are able to accommodate any municipal banking needs when they do get open. Other than that, these are all the banks we've had previously. Huntington, which is where most of our deposits are. PNC, Fifth Third, Ameriprise Financial, who administers our treasury bonds for the cemetery. MSU Federal Credit Union, and then PFCU Credit Union. I'll make a motion, we approve the depository list.
Troy's made a motion,
Second.
seconded by Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Which? Okay. Budget amendments, Troy.
Okay, the only thing, I mean, I'll look at it again at the end of the month. I think everything will be okay for dollar amounts for the fiscal year here, but we didn't, the stimulus money didn't exist when we had adopted our budget last year, so we just need to adopt the ARPA fund for this fiscal year 21-22. We didn't expend any funds out of it, but we just need to recognize it that it exists.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion, we recognize the existence of the,
All right, Mark's made
APRA.
that motion, seconded by Rich, all in favor?
We gotta do a roll
Roll
call.
call
'cause
vote,
it's a-
Kelly, all right.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Coontz.
Yes.
Okay. End of year transfers.
Okay, end of your fiscal year transfers. So, where we've got everything sorted out with the, the parking lot where we're using the stimulus funds and stuff, so we're not using that reserve in the land and building fund, so that will just sit there for future hall projects. We will have a substantial budget surplus here at the end of the fiscal year. I would, gonna go out and list and say $75,000 to $80,000 probably for this year. My proposal would be we transfer that to the road fund, so we start accumulating, because as we discussed, our plan is, we have kind of light road years this year and next year, that when the county does Morris Road in 2024, we're going to piggyback and be able to do Ellsworth Road here, Braden Road, and Church Road. And then they turn right around, and it looks like, depending on how the asphalt price is, that 2025, they're gonna do Beard Road, in which case we have Beardsley Road down at the west end. So we're gonna have some heavy road years.
So we're light this year on purpose.
We're light these next 2 years, but what I'm saying is we're gonna have to start stockpiling some, because we're gonna have some $350,000 road, years. So that's my proposal, unless somebody else feels
I
otherwise.
second your motion.
So transfer surplus of general.
To be determined by the treasurer, yes, from the general fund to the road fund for the fiscal year.
How much is in the road fund now, roughly?
It's on the back page of your
40-something.
114,000.
114,000.
Now, we haven't had to tap into that in a long time, which is good. I mean, we've been able to put, we used to have budget surpluses every year. And then, of course, when we, 08, 09, 10 happened there, and the revenue sharing ticked down, and those went away. We were able to hold our own and everything, but, so now we're able to and we put a little away a couple years ago too on it. But, again, we're gonna have some, who knows what asphalt's gonna cost in 2024.
That's true.
But we're gonna have some $300,000 to $400,000 road project years, I suspect. So we're gonna have to pull back from those funds to make that work.
And our road maintenance foreman was here today, talking about just the classic.
No, he knows all of our plan, and their road commission's totally on board with it, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
gets a lot better rate
I just
when
thought-
we touch it.
The price of just the plastic tube that goes under your, we drive in your driveway, got that plastic tube under it, that thing
Yeah,
is double.
their bids came in double for culverts.
So it's just crazy, prices right now. As you go to the store, it's the same thing,
We can do
So-
a voice vote on that.
Oh, okay,
all in
wait,
favor
so that
of
was
Troy's
moved
vote?
Hold on, moved by Troy, seconded by Frazier.
Yep.
Okay.
Good roll.
No, we can do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, all opposed, no? Okay, Clifford Fields Lights, Troy.
All right, you have a printout, everyone should have had in their box. So we do a special assessment district for Clifford Fields to cover the streetlights in Clifford Fields.
Yeah.
Presently, it is at $52 a parcel, there's 76 parcels, that raises $3,952.
And the bill's usually how much?
Well, it's on your list there, it varies each month, but depending
About
on
the same.
the street, but it's around $330 to $340.
Yeah.
Now, we had to raise it last year, and of course, we've got to estimate a year in advance, because this is for the assessment that will be levied next December. So we gotta, we gotta be thinking forward there. The consumer's bill on that has gone up by about $20 a month, compared what we paid this year compared to the last year.
Okay.
Obviously, that money's all restricted, so if they end up with a surplus, then we don't have to raise it for a while. I mean, it doesn't go away, no one loses it, it's all coded for Clifford Fields there. My proposal was to raise it from 52 per parcel to 55 per parcel for this year. And our resolution for when we did this assessment district is we have to adjust it in March of every year.
Which is now.
Which is now. Just like our ambulance one happens in September of every year.
Well,
So I'll second that.
we do know lighting's going up, so I'll make, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that consumer's bill, like I said, it went up by an average of $30 per month the last year. I mean, it was a large jump, I thought. And, but again, these are unmetered street lights, so consumers has a rate, they figure out by the length of night and everything else, but they are not metered, so they have a flat rate for street lights.
Okay. All right, Troy's made a motion, Mark seconded the motion.
To adjust it from 52 to 55.
55. And that's effective
We need a roll call.
in December, you said?
It'll be on the 2022 winter taxes.
Okay, okay, roll call vote, Kelly?
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Francis Griffin. Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Parmalee.
Yes.
Mark Folds.
Yes. All right, back to Kelly. She's going to talk about the Sexton contracts.
So our Sexton's contract, she's been with us for 3 years already, so we just have to renew that. She agreed to stay on, and at the same amount of money. Oh, I'm sorry. Think of the other one. Sexton's agreement, yeah.
You're talking about the assessor, and we did that last month.
Yeah, we did that. This is the Sexton agreement.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
They've been here longer than 3 years.
yeah. So, let's see, we decided at the budget work session that we would increase the monthly retainer from $1,400 to $1,550 for the Sexton. And he seems to be okay with that, so, we just need-
Well, it wasn't just a proactive.
yes, it was.
We-
Everything else is the same, however, later, the next item on the agenda, it has to do with opening and closings, but, that's something separate.
What did the supervisor go?
Oh, okay.
We don't have to take any action, we already voted on that,
On
increase.
what?
Sexton's increase, right?
Yes, this is just.
Information.
Yes, this is just information. We just have to, updo his.
Okay, I guess you can move right into the open closing talk, right?
Oh, we have to make a motion for the Sexton.
We did it in our budget.
No, all we did was, we didn't renew his contract.
Oh, we didn't?
No, we just.
It was just a 1 year?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They're all,
okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
And because we changed the contract, we have to renew it.
But it was just a 1 year last time we did it.
We're still on the second.
All right, I'll make a motion that we accept the Sexton contract as presented.
I'll second.
Second. Oh, okay.
All right, Troy's made a motion, second by Mark. Roll call vote, Kelly. When you're ready.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Ray Parmalee.
Yes.
Mark Folds.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
All right, you've got one more topic you want to talk about, Sexton.
So, one of the things that Mike came to me with was the amount of money that it's costing now for diesel fuel for opening, closing graves, and the amount of time and money that it costs to open them, especially in the wintertime. He suggested that we increase the summer opening and closing to $600 and leave the winter the same. He said that should, the number of burials in the summer
Which are more.
are usually more, that would offset the amount of money that he spends, to open and close graves. We did a little open and closing cost study. There were other, townships that have cemeteries, and you have that in front of you there.
So just summary, you know, Williamstown is 600, Locke's 500, Bennington's 400, Bethany, the Catholic Cemetery is 450, Woodhull's 450. Victor is 525, Vernon Township is 725.
Wow, yeah.
They're all over the place, they always are.
And then the winter.
I did contact Woodhull today, and she said that they're,
They're looking at changing theirs
Yes,
right
they
now,
are.
yes.
that is way outdated, so.
No, I know Woodhull is really looking over their cemetery thing.
So in the summer roughly, I guess it depends on when the people die, but.
Right.
Well, the problem with the winter, I mean, we've always charged more for winter because
Okay.
it's a problem.
Sure.
Now, we have had a more fierce winter this year than we've had in several years. I mean, there's about a foot of frost at the cemetery. So, I mean, you know, doing a burial right now, I mean, that becomes quite an ordeal. And of course, they can't, you know, you have to probe to find the vault next to it to make sure everything's in the right spot. And of course, you can't probe through a foot of frozen ground and all that.
Makes it hard.
I
Yeah.
did talk to him about, the thaws, the grave thaws. And we do have one. He said it's propane though. He said those are really expensive to run. And he said some people are using charcoal to do that. He said, but it takes a long time.
Well, we haven't had to do it in several years. I mean, we haven't had this much frost since 13, 14, somewhere in there. You know, I mean, normally it's not that big a deal, but we had such a cold January, but, well, I mean,
So basically.
what's
just asking
your
for a
recommendation, Kelly?
$100 increase.
Well, based on the gas prices and what's happening in our world, I think diesel fuel is gonna be expensive.
Of course it is.
Oh, yeah, it's way up there.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, I hate raising rates of opening and closings, but somebody's gotta pay the,
So
So
do
you want summer 600 and winter 700,
Leave
remain
it
at 700?
Right.
I would say 600 and leave the winter at 7.
Make that motion. Okay, Butch made the motion.
Butch made the motion to go adjust
I'll
the summer from 500 to 600, leave 700 alone, and Mark will second that. Kelly,
All right.
all right, when you're ready.
Troy Parmalee?
Yes,
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes.
and I'll take effect April 1st.
Yep, April 1st.
All right. Next on Kelly's long list of new business is planning commission appointments.
Yes.
Planning commission,
So I contacted Beth and Sandy. Beth said yes, she would love to continue. I don't know if she used the word love, but
she
she
will
said she
continue.
would
She will
continue.
continue,
I
okay.
spoke to Sandy, she was a little on the fence, but she said she would. So the two of them are still willing to be on the planning commission board.
Make a motion that we approve the term for Beth Andrus and Sandy McCulloch for a 3-year term to expire in 2025.
I'll second that.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Okay, Kelly, CISA appointment.
So Mark there is expiring this March. So I guess we need a motion if you're willing to continue to be on the
yeah.
CISA board.
I'll make a motion, we continue Mark, our trustee, as our CISA appointed official.
Okay. I'll second that.
Okay. Motion been made second.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Parmalee?
Yes. Larry, you've been very patient. We've now come to the Slocum recommendation.
Really?
I know it's hard to believe. There's been a lot of water under the bridge and smoke in the air, but we've made it.
Made it. Oh, I'm gonna go out there.
Huh?
No, Mark.
Oh, Mark's going to do this. Mark Frazier. He represents us on the planning commission, okay?
The two things, the planning commission approved it with 2 caveats.
Okay.
One being that they wanted to make sure that, and they felt that with the setbacks from the road easement and so forth, it would do this, but we wanted the gate inset enough so that somebody with a trailer can get all the way off of the highway to open the gate, because they're gonna have to hit the keypad. We didn't want somebody hanging out on the road and causing an accident.
Makes sense, okay.
The other thing was that we wanted the access limited to that gate. There will be a construction access on the Winnegar side, but other than that, that won't be used for anything else.
It's like an emergency exit or a,
Right,
yeah.
right. We would just want to make sure that there wasn't, one of the members of the planning commission was concerned that there could be an access to another piece of property or something, and they didn't want that to happen, so.
But there's a gate on the Winnegar Road.
There will be a gate for construction, correct?
Yes.
Yep, yep,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So that, I mean, other than that,
So the whole facility, I mean, you'll have to have a code to get in, correct?
Correct.
It's not just open.
Correct.
yeah, it's totally secured, not necessarily with fence, because in some cases, the wall of the building would be the
For sure.
security, but, that, yeah, that, they met all the requirements that's in the zoning laws on that, so.
Well, it says a 6-foot security fence surrounding the property in your minutes. Is that true?
Yes, except for where it actually hits the building, and the building is part of the
Oh.
border.
Right.
Okay, okay. And people were there at your meeting?
Yeah, they,
Okay.
in fact, we had the same crew there at the
Okay,
meeting,
good, perfect.
planning commission meeting, so.
Does it
But
sound right?
we approved it, and we recommended the township board approve it also.
Okay, Mark has
Okay,
clearly
everything,
explained
you
that.
guys okay with everything that they did, planning commission?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion that we accept as the application request as presented
Defer the planning
and
commission's recommendation.
approve the planning commission's recommendation on February 17th that we move forward and notify the Shiawassee County Community Development.
I'll second.
Troy's going to second that. Okay. Motion.
We need a roll call.
Okay.
Okay, Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Trey Fermel.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes?
Mark Frazier.
Yes,
Okay.
so your next stop's the county, yes.
Your last stop,
Yeah.
Kelly, you
because
got-
this was a site plan review and special use permit combined. Correct, yeah.
Okay, perfect, okay, very good. All right, you got one more little item, don't you, Kelly?
Yes, the planning commission has been a little delinquent on their annual reports for last few years, so I had Sandy catch us up on it.
Okay.
So this is, we did like 2021 last one, this is nice.
This is 2019.
Make a motion, we approve the Perry Township 2019 annual report to place on file.
Seconded by Butch, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, and board review training update, we had training on Monday, it was attended by all the board review members, and it was an all-day affair, and it was in Lansing, and it was very good.
And is that part of your certification?
We actually were certified last year on Zoom, so we didn't really have to attend this year, but she was glad we did, and thanked us for attending.
It's every other year.
Every year, so, but we'll make sure we get all those certificates so we have them, so.
Doesn't hurt to be, you can't be overtrained,
Can't be overtrained, and we had a new person, so, with Tim place. So, with that, that's that. Any more public comments? Going once, going twice, any adjournments?
Yep, motion to adjourn.
Mark,
I'll second it.
Kelly, what time is it?
8:13.
Oh, good, 10 right now, good. 8:13? 8:13.